Hello and welcome to React Lecture 3. So in this lecture, we'll see how to do conditional rendering in React and then how to do the event handling. So here we'll see, so let me take my laser pointer. So we'll see that how to do the if else condition and then how to do the ternary operation and then logical and operation. Okay, and then next we'll do the react event handling, like okay, how to handle the event, right? So for example, if there is a click event happen or any change event happen, and then how we can capture the event and then do what the action should be, which is called event handling, right? And then we'll also see that how you can pass the parameter um, while you're calling the event handler. You can also pass the parameters, and then also you can pass the event, that what event actually happened. Okay, so all those things we'll see in our next um, slides. So here we see that in conditional rendering we may have if else condition, right? So let's say that we have the app, and then app is calling the device component and then passing this attribute, and the value is true. Okay, so we are using curly braces because this is in JavaScript thing. Okay, it's a JavaScript expression, so that's why if we are using curly braces, so it will go as a JavaScript value like on is true. Okay, so it's not a string, but it will go as a boolean. Okay, so this go as an object, like this is your attribute, then that's your value. So we'll go here and then we'll check. Okay, so this is the JavaScript code. Okay, but then here is your JSX. Okay, so you are checking whether this is true. If it is, then it return this one, otherwise it will return this. Okay, so you see that, okay, there's a combination of JavaScript and then JSX. So this is like if else condition in a traditional way, right? Now there are other way where the developer in React use quite often is the ternary operator. So here inside the return statement, so previously it was a separate return statement. Now you have a return statement inside the return statements. So you have these fragment component, fragment elements, and inside that you see that this is the curly braces. Okay, so this curly braces shows that this is basically a JavaScript. Okay, so now it shows that, so since this is JavaScript, so you said, okay, whether this condition is true, right? So that's the ternary operation, right? So you check the condition, and then check the condition, and then so what sign. So if this condition is true, so then first expression will return, say this is expression 1. If the condition is false, so then it return the second expression. Okay, so that's what actually the ternary operation is doing here. So the same thing here. So if this is true, then it will return this, otherwise you see the colon here, otherwise it will return this one. So the same thing using if else condition and then ternary operator. So the other one is that this is also quite often used in React. Let's say that we just want to return just one statement, or like one set of statement, not the other set. Okay, let's say that we just want to return when the device is on. Okay, when the device is off, we don't want to return. Like if something is true happen, then we want to return. If the false happen, we don't want to return. So in that case, with the logical operation is very handy. So here you say that, okay, so instead of what sign, we have a logical and sign. Okay, and since this is the JavaScript, so here we have the curly braces. Okay, so we said, okay, whether this one and this one, okay, and then end with this side. Okay, so whether this one is true, so if this side is true, and there's a logical and then you have the JSX. Okay, so it will return this part. Okay, and if this side is false, so let's say that if your condition is false, okay, so then it's basically done nothing. Okay, so that's the logical and operations using the conditional returning. Okay, so if your condition is true, then it's returned. If it's not, then it's returned nothing. Okay, so what it will be returned is return will be just whatever on the right side of the logical and operation. Okay, so that's also very handy. So you will see more often that we use ternary operation and this one, um, to do the conditional rendering a lot. Okay, next one, we'll see event handling. Okay, so let's say that you have some event happen, like how we register for the event. Okay, so in React we write, okay, so HTML element, let's say that button, we can have other element like the form, and then you write form submission, right? Then you write basically whatever the event, just you write on keyword. Okay, so if the click event happens, then you write on click. Okay, so that's the event name. If the change happens, so then you write add change. If the mouse hover happen, then on mouse hover, right? So it's basically the name of the event, and then just on add will be as a prefix. Okay, and then it's a camel case. So if you have mouse over, so this O will be uppercase. Okay, and then over. If it's mouse hover, then my H, right? So you have mouse is uppercase M, and then H is uppercase, and then hover, right? And then you said key up, so key up. Okay, and then you write on, so it's on, and then key up, so K is uppercase, up is uppercase. So this part is camel case, and then the on is just the lowercase. Okay, so that's how we write the event. And then since this is a JavaScript function name, so this is an event handler. Okay, so event handler is nothing but a function name. Okay, so here we say that handle click, and that is a JavaScript function. Okay, so function will do whatever you want to do. Okay, so that's how we register for an event in React, and then we call the event handler. So now when we want to register for an event, we can also execute a callback function. Here we use the arrow function. So the arrow function is basically, instead of writing the function keyword, we just write the function symbol and the arrow, right? And then you write whatever you want to return. Okay. If you have more than one, then you need to write curly braces, and then you need to write a return statement. Okay. So here, usually, we write the small function. Um, so then we write this. If it's a larger function, then probably we'll just call the function, okay, instead of execute that in here. Okay. So what we are doing, since this is a very small function, is just one liner, right? So it's basically just return when it is executing. So we say that when the on-click event happens, so you execute this function. Okay, so create click, right, and then passing the hello. Okay, so this hello will go as a function argument. Okay, so this is the definition of the function. So this whole thing will be basically replaced by this one. Okay, so hello will be go here, and then you will just do an alert, and then you said greetings is basically now hello, and then props name is whatever props you are passing from your main function, sorry, your app, which is calling the greeting. So the greeting component is called from the app, my app, and then it's giving the name. So the props.name will come from this here. So it will be Adam. So you write basically hello Adam. Okay, so this is the first one, first button. So we have two button here, right? So we have a say hello button, and then we have say welcome button, right? So let's say that in here, if you are passing the argument is hey. Okay, so the greeting will change here. Okay, so the props.name will be same, is Adam, but here will be hey Adam instead of hello Adam. Okay, So the to button is sending different argument. Okay, so that's how you can pass the argument. Okay, so next thing is that you can also pass the event as well. Okay, so whatever the event is happening, and sometimes very important, like when you see that, okay, when you want to submit a form, then we want to prevent default, so that's why we need the event. Okay, so if you also want to send the event, then you say for example, we can write anything here. Okay, whatever the user defined name of this argument, so that's basically the event. Okay, so the what is the event is the click event. Okay, so we pass the event here, so the event will go as okay, and then hello will go as the string here. So, so since E is your event, and then if we write E dot target, okay, so target is basically which HTML element actually register for this event. So here is the button, okay. So E dot target is a button, okay. So E dot target is your button, okay, and after that you have ID, right? So ID is basically whatever the ID value that's you register for this one, and here we said hello. Okay, so e.target.id will give you the button ID. So this button ID is hello, whatever ID you have written here, and then for this case the button ID will be hey. Okay, so you see that if you click this one, it will basically shows the greetings is hello, which is coming from here. The props names is coming from this component, and then event.target.id value is coming from here. Okay, so that will show that hello Adams um, from hello button. Okay, but if you click this one, so if this one is this event occurred, okay, so you click here, then it will send hey, and then the name will come from this one, which is Adam. So it said hey Adam from, and this time the button ID will be hey, so hey button from hey button. Okay, so this is a very simple example to explain that how we can pass or get the event, and then also the related to the target values. Okay, so here we have a target is button, but we may have in the form we may have a, so let's say that input type is text. Okay, so that's our input event, and then we can say what is the value of the text field, what is the ID, what is the name, what is the value of the name field, what is the value of the placeholder, what's the value of the ID. So like all those things we can get through this one. We can write event.target, okay, and then we can get the value of it or dot ID of it, right? All these things you'll get. Okay, so so we'll see this in the next video, which will be right writing code of this thing that we explained, and I also make the GitHub code available for you guys. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.